No matter what the product is, no matter what the brand story is, one of the things you have to keep in mind is that your product is meant to sit somewhere where people can see it. So no matter what style you're choosing, so we're looking at kind of a vintage tagging system here. The one thing to keep in mind is your type can't be hidden. It has to tie into the product. It is not the product, so we do not see a big title here that says wine. It's brother in arms, right? So you want to be able to tell the story of the brand by using that type, and that type needs to be in the forefront of your packaging. The actual title of it can be so upfront that it actually becomes the artwork. So the more integrated it is, the more successful the packaging, meaning image, type, style needs to be integrated and balanced. And obviously, if your type and your product can sort of work together and have a fun story or have an interesting take, even better. And one of the things you really have to be aware of is in many cases you're dealing with a six-sided artboard. So you have to think about what is going to be seen first, how much information it's going to have on there, and then look at those secondary areas, especially sides and back, to tell the brand story. So the brand story can be written out. You can have beautiful little elements like you see here and like we looked at with some of the other packaging that we were working on. What you'll find, unless you're going for, a very sort of minimal, sophisticated look, that the packaging that has a simple color system and keeps the brand information up front and is not trying to hide it. It's using it in a composition. It's not trying to find a little space to hide the type. Those are the ones that really work. And if your package is meant to be minimal and sort of sophisticated, that doesn't necessarily mean just an all-white label on the front of a package. It means that you can have some interesting sort of takes on type, introducing pattern and numbers like we've looked at in the past, and working with color. So consider every part of your packaging as a new area to balance the experience of the viewer. So front, when you see it in the front, you rarely see it like this angle. You'll typically see it with a little bit of angle. Then all of a sudden you get this beautiful sort of hit of color down the side, and then it goes back to white on the back, and then simple sort of tags and the sort of seal on it. Those are the types of things that will take your project to another level. And just like any design, when you guys are looking at this stuff, really what happens is it becomes a composition, right? And that composition can entail top, sides, back, and it's really what you do with it. So it's, the idea that this has sort of this pattern, then it goes to like big, goofy, friendly type, and then hits of color. All of that, none of it is remarkable, but what happens when you put all of those elements together is it has a really nice look and feel. What I like about this one is really kind of beautiful, simple icon that's is tight, but at the same time is kind of loose, and that they've used it in multiple different ways. So thinking about things like interesting tags is a great way to extend your packaging. What I liked about this packaging was just that it uses scale in such a fun, interesting way to break up the surfaces, and that it's for children, but it's not childish. And this is a great example of sort of utilitarian design where it really is sort of panels, sectioning type, oversized type, icon design, but it all works really well to actually create something that's sort of visually stunning. How about having packaging that looks exactly like the product in an illustrative way? You find a lot of really sophisticated toy packaging, especially vinyl design, vinyl toy design. And the idea that you can take something that has been seen so many times and is so pedestrian, and the packaging is so lousy, and then have some fun with that. That's just, it just shows a lot of imagination. I really like the Kid Robot series too, because they're usually typically so out there with hits of color, and be very easy to design this and just design it with a bright color on the inside, but the subtle attention to sort of putting stripes on it that are counter to the actual product is really nice. Look at the inside flaps of these two toys. So when it closes up, it's just a box. When you open that first flap, they've paid to have a die cut done, which is not cheap, but it just has such a nice feel to it. And when you're doing your packaging, really think about what that brand story is, and write it down, create it, make it fictional, make it interesting. Right? That is the type of thing that people will buy into.